All right, so.
Yeah, brilliant. So if you get your prop, whatever that may be, we're just going to start laying on your backs. And then pop the block or the cushion or whatever it is underneath your sacrum area, so the hips are raised ever so slightly. Okay, so make sure it's nice and comfortable. Spread your shoulders out, so you take up space with your shoulders and let your chin be away from your chest. Okay, if you haven't got a prop, you can just do this with your hands, making a little diamond shape with your hands like this. You can place that underneath your sacrum as well if you haven't got a prop to hand. And then from there, we're just going to lift the legs up towards the ceiling. So we're flexing the feet. So you may need to just adjust your prop underneath you to get to a comfortable position. And then just start by rocking the feet forward and back, just a touch, just a little bit, until you find that position when they can just stop and hang above you. You don't need to have straight legs. So if you've got super tight hamstrings, have a softness through the knees. Okay, so the legs are just hanging up above you, and then just allow your arms to come out by your sides with the palms facing up, because that allows the shoulders to open a lot more. All right, so once we're in a comfortable position with the legs just dangling in the air, I want you to take a nice big deep breath in, and then close your eyes and breathe out through the mouth. Just sigh the breath out, let it go. And then do that again. A big deep inhale. And sigh the breath out. Let it go. Okay, and then all you need to do now is just breathe. So with the eyes closed, just let the legs be in the air. And just find some breath, connecting with your breath. So depending on the day that you've had, the week that you've had perhaps, so it might be a physical or mental release that we're looking for today. To begin with, just breathe and notice what's going on with the breath. So anytime, if you want to bring your feet to the floor, just bend the knees and bring your feet down, that's fine. So just notice how you're feeling physically and mentally. We spend so much of our time standing or seated. So basically head down and head up, feet down. So we're just kind of reversing that, we're flipping that to begin our practice. So inversions, when the legs are up, are really energizing, but they're also good for flushing out the lymphatic system and allowing us to just release any built up toxins or anything that we've got going on in the legs. So a good place for us to start. And also to open up through the chest and the shoulder area. If we've been sat at a desk, at a computer, we tend to round the shoulder. So this allows us to open up through that area too. So breathing in and out through the nostrils if we can. Just notice the length of the breath. And as you inhale, just count how long your breath is. And then as you exhale, make your exhale a count longer than the inhale. So if we're breathing in for 4, exhale out for 5, etc. Okay, so that's it. Just keep the breath flowing. Keep making it longer and deeper. Until when you breathe in, you can feel, you can bring your hands to your abdomen if you wish. You can feel the belly balloon on the inhale. So the breath is reaching the belly as you inhale. And then exhaling to release it. So just do a few more breaths like this. Full long inhales and exhales. And I always like to set an intention for my practice. I always ask people to do this at the beginning of any of my sessions. So set yourself an intention. It might be to get to the end of this session. It might be to connect with your breath, or perhaps to quieten down your mind, or to de-stress, whatever it may be. Just set an intention, something that you would like to achieve by the end of your practice today. So think about what that is. Place that thought in the front of your mind. Take a nice big deep inhale. And then exhale to release it. And then bring your knees slowly into the chest and open up your eyes. So bring the knees in and give them a little squeeze. So just pull the knees into the chest. All right, we're going to keep hold of the left leg and extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. So bring the left knee into your chest, left leg's up to the ceiling. And then we're going to lower the left leg down just as if, so it's hovering off the mat. And then we're going to inhale, bring it back up and then switch legs. So taking hold of the right, take the left leg down, just hover it off the mat. And then inhale, bring that leg up and switch. And then again, lower the right leg down. Good. Inhale, lift up, switch over, lower the left leg down. And just keep going with this. Work with the length of your breath. So inhale, bring it up, exhale, lower the next one down. Good. Inhale, up. And exhale down. So it's all about connecting the movement to the breath. So go at your pace. So slowly lowering, keeping the head and the shoulders on the floor. The upper body is nicely relaxed and soft. Okay, let's do one more on each side. So slowly lifting and lowering. When you've done one more on each side, I want you to bring both knees into your chest and give them both a hug in. So squeeze both knees in when you finish, just so I can see that you're done. All right, good. Lower the feet down to the floor. So bring the feet onto the mat, lift your bum so we can move your prop out of the way, and then just bring your bottom down so that we're laid flat on the mat now, and just rock the knees, windscreen wipe the knees from side to side. So just carefully rocking the knees one way then the other, just to make sure that the lower back is feeling okay. And then bring the heels in towards your bottom. So you might be able to touch your heels with your middle fingers. The feet are hip distance apart, and ensure that your knees are going towards your toes. Keep that space between your chin and your chest. Tilt the pelvis up and then push into your feet and lift your hips up towards the ceiling. The arms are just down by your sides with the palms pushing down into the floor. So push into your feet and lift the hips up. As you exhale, I want you to roll your spine back down to the floor, slowly lower, untuck the pelvis. And then inhale, tuck the pelvis again, lift the hips up. So again, working with the breath. Exhale, roll the spine back down to the mat and untuck at the bottom. Good. Inhale, tuck and lift. Push into your feet, lift the hips up. Exhale to come down. Last one here. Inhale, we're going to lift up. We're going to hold up. So push and lift lift your hips, push into your feet. Now use your leg muscles and your bottom muscles, your glutes, and it really drive the hips up towards the ceiling. Keep the arms down by the side, the space between chin and chest. Now really breathe into your chest space, not into the belly. Breathe into your chest. So your chest rises towards your chin, and then exhale, slowly lower, bring it all the way back down. Good. And then bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself another little hug. Okay, let's take the arms out into a crucifix shape. So we're taking them out at right angles to the body, and then keeping the knees and the ankles together. Bring your knees so that they are over the hips, and then lower the legs down to the right side. Keep your shoulders on the mat, and then turn your head to look to the left. So we're taking a twist through the side body. So shoulders are down, we're looking in the opposite direction to the knees. Breathe in to the rib cage that is uppermost. Really breathe into that side of your body, and exhale, release. Now bring the knees back to center, making sure the knees are over hips and the ankles stay together, knees stay together. Take the legs over to the other side. Turn your head in the opposite direction. Again, breathe into the uppermost rib cage. Keep the shoulders down on the mat. Exhale. Good. Next inhale, bring the knees back to center, and then take hold behind the back of the thighs. We're going to rock and roll. So rocking forward and back to massage out the spine until we come into a seated position. So just come to a seat. All right, so we tend to use easy cross-legged position, so easy pose. If this is too much on the knees, you can kneel, you can have your legs out in front of you, but just a nice comfortable seated position. As you breathe in, raise the arms up towards the ceiling. Touch your palms together at the top, so really lift up out of the rib cage. And then if you bring your right hand down onto your left knee, left hand comes behind you, and then turn to look over the back shoulder. So just taking a twist, pushing against that knee. Keep the spine nice and tall. Inhale, raise your arms to the sky, and then twist to the other side. So left hand comes across, onto the knee, so your right hand just stabilizes you, look over your back shoulder. Breathe here. Keep that spine nice and tall. Inhale, raise the arms up. Now we're going to fold forward. So fold and just let the hands come to the floor, let the head drop down. Now give your head a bit of a shake out to release any neck tension. You can be on fingertips, your palms can be flat, whichever. Your head might be touching the floor. Now reach your arms as far forward as you can, but keep those sit bones grounded down on the mat. Slowly walk your hands back so you come up into seated, and then bring your hands behind you with the fingertips pointing forward. So squeeze your elbows together. So squeeze the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then push your chest to the ceiling and let your head go back. So we're stretching through the front of the chest and front of the neck. And then release back to center. Okay, well done. Let's lift those arms up once more. So reach and lift up through the spine. Drop the left hand down, reach the right arm over and take a side bend. Try not to drop forward, but reaching over to the side. If you want to, your forearm can come down to the mat if that feels okay, but keep this sit bone pushing down into the floor so you get lots of length from your fingertips down to your sitting bone. And then inhale, raise back to center, lift up, take it to the other side. So hand comes down, reach up and over. You can drop the elbow onto the mat if that feels okay, but keep that sit bone grounded. So left sit bone is down, reach and extend. Breathe into that side body stretch, go a little deeper. Inhale, let's bring it back to center and release. Lovely, come over into tabletop. So now we should be on our hands and our knees. So tabletop position, hands are underneath our shoulders and knees are underneath our hips. So make sure that you have a gap between your knees. All right, a few rounds of cat-cow just to loosen up the spine. So as you inhale, lift the head and tilt the tailbone back. So we're dropping the belly down. As you exhale, round the spine, bring the chin into the chest and tuck the tailbone, pull the belly button up here. And then again, inhale, lift the head, tilt the tailbone back. Exhale, round the spine. So it's always important to work at the pace of your breath. Inhale, lift the head, tilt the tailbone. So your breath might be different length to mine. That's fine. Work at your pace. Exhale, round. And then one more. Inhale, lift the head, tailbone tilts back. And then exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Stay here. Now come onto your fingertips. Come up onto your fingertips and really pull that belly up, 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 up. Push the floor away with your fingertips. Bring the chin closer to your chest. So you're getting a stretch out through the back of the shoulders. And then release back into a regular tabletop. So hands and knees. All right, let's extend the left leg back. So flexing the foot. So toes should be pointing down to the floor. Leg is super strong and straight, and the hands are underneath our shoulders. Yeah. As you inhale, bring that knee toward your nose. So left knee toward your nose. So round the spine and extend it out. And in. So knee comes towards the nose and out. And once more, knee comes to the nose, round the spine, and extend the leg out. Then bend the knee so the sole of the foot is pushing towards the ceiling. So bend the knee, then lift the foot up a little bit higher to activate into the glute. Then the left knee, we're going to bring it around towards our left elbow, and then bring it back to center. Just hover the knee off the floor, then push it back. Extend the leg. So we do this twice more. So bend the knee, sole of the foot to the ceiling, raise that foot up a touch if you can, then bring the knee around to open the hip, touch the knee to the elbow, and then lower the knees to hover. Once more, extend the leg out, bend the knee, push the sole of the foot up, activate into your bottom, bring the knee around, touch it to your elbow, and now bring it back into your tabletop. Push both of your sit bones back towards your heels and bring your forehead down into child's pose. So this is your resting posture if you need to rest at any point. Just have a sway from side to side. And we'll do the same on the other side. So when you're ready, tabletop, hands and knees. Just again, check you've got those knees underneath the hips. Then extend the right leg towards the back of the room, flexing the foot. So exactly the same on this side, okay? So we're going to start by bringing the right knee towards the nose, round the spine. So bring your chin into your chest and then exhale, push it back out, heels to the back of the room. And then inhale, knee to nose, round. Push out on the exhale. And once more, knee to nose. And push it all the way back out. Then bend the knee, heel to sole of the foot to the ceiling. Push it up. Activate into the glutes. Bring the knee around to the elbow. Then lower it down to hover. And then push back. Bend the knee, sole of the foot up. Push up. Bring the knee around, touch it to your elbow, and then knee back to hover. Last one, extend the leg. Then bend at the knee joint, push the heel up, bring the knee around, touch it to your elbow, and then back into tabletop. Good. Now tuck your toes under and push your bottom onto your heels to give the toes a stretch. Reach your arms as far forward as you can. Then we're going to slide onto our chest. So slide forward to come down onto your tummy. Untuck your toes here. So the hands are underneath the shoulders. We're not going to push into the hands. We're just going to lift the chest using our lower back muscles. So lift the chest. So we've got no pressure into the hands. Lift the chest. Now squeeze your shoulder blades together. Squeeze your elbows together. Then make sure the legs are active. So if you push through the top of your feet, your kneecaps will lift. All right. Engage your tummy muscles as well to support the lower back and lift up. Inhale. Exhale, lower the forehead to the floor. Inhale, lift up again. Lift the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Activate the legs and the tummy. Exhale, lower forehead to the mat. And again, inhale, lift up. Lifting the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades. Exhale to lower. Push yourself back into your tabletop. Tuck your toes. Push your bottom to your heels. Now lift your knees off the floor and push your chest back to your thighs as we start extending the legs and coming into downward facing dog. Okay, so if you're familiar with down dog, find that position of comfort where the hands and the feet have got that lovely distance between them. If you haven't done a down dog before, hands should be shoulder distance, the feet should be hip distance apart, and we're making an inverted V shape with the body. The head should hang really nice and heavy, so you can give it a shake or a yes, no to release any neck tension. And then it's good to pedal the legs, so bending one leg then the other. Just pushing alternate heels down towards the floor. Getting some length through the back of the legs and feeling the blood going into the head to rejuvenate, to re-energize. Okay, so let's find some stillness and push the heels as close to the mat as you can. They may or may not touch, it's fine. Just check that as well that you are pushing down through all of your 10 fingers, your finger pads, not just dumping the weight into your wrists. The fingers should be spread out nice and wide. The middle or forefinger is pointing forwards. And then turn your tailbone up towards the ceiling and push your chest back in towards your thighs to make it a really strong posture. So down dog is a really strong posture. You should be using pretty much every muscle in the body. Okay, take an inhale and exhale. Then I want you to start walking your feet towards your hands. So walking the feet forward until we are at the top of the mat with the feet hip distance apart. Now take hold of opposite elbows and hang the body over the legs in a ragdoll position. So the upper body is completely relaxed, and then sway from side to side. So we're just allowing the legs to lengthen. So if the knees need to be soft, soften the knees off. Hamstrings can be super tight from sitting, from running, from not stretching. So just allow the hamstrings to carefully and gently lengthen. We don't want to do anything too sudden. So keep those knees nice and soft. Release your arms to the floor and slowly roll up the spine, coming up nice and steady. The head will come up last. And then once the head comes up, take your arms up to the ceiling, Touch your palms together. Now look toward your hands and get yourself as tall as you can. Reach up, pull the belly in. Exhale, bring your hands into your heart center and prayer position. So hopefully we're at the top of the mat. All right, so our feet are going to come together with big toes touching. So big toes touching, you probably have a gap between your heels. That's fine. Hands are in prayer at heart center. So shoulders, just roll them back and down. This is Tadasana, your mountain posture. We start at the top of the mat. We're going to take a sun salutation, which is a really good way of getting everything warmed up through the body. So I'll talk you through it nice and steady. So as you inhale, sweep the arms up to the ceiling, look up, touch your palms. Exhale, forward fold, come down over your legs. Now bring your hands onto your shins and lengthen through the spine, halfway lift to make a nice flat back position. Legs can be bent or straight, your choice. Release your hands to the floor, step back with the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. So we're in a runner's lunge. So long stance, then step back with the left. So we're in a plank. So plank position, nice high plank, engaging everything, pushing your heels back, the space between your shoulder blades pushing up to the ceiling. Now drop your knees down onto the floor. Keeping the elbows tucked into the body, lower the chin and chest to the mat. Lay down, untuck your toes, then push into your hands and lift the chest into a cobra. So keep those shoulders back and down away from the ears, look forward. Come through tabletop, push back into child's pose. Drop your forehead down to touch it to the floor. Inhale, tabletop, into hands and knees, toes tuck, hips lift, downward facing dog. Okay, lovely. So now on your inhale, lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. Now look where your hands are and step your right foot between your hands. You may need to take a couple of steps. You may need to get hold of your foot and pop it in place. Doesn't matter, just get it to the top of your mat. Now untuck the back toe for me. If you push into your front hand, lift up into a low lunge. Always checking that the knee is over the ankle. Arms are up to the ceiling, shoulders are relaxed. We're looking forward. Now think about really tucking the tailbone under and then sinking into the hips to get the stretch through the hip flexor here. So breathing into our low lunge. Breathe in. And out. Relax your shoulders. Breathe in again. And out. Good. One more breath in. As we exhale, if we move our hips back and pull the right toes up, we get a half split. So fingertips, floor, or hips if we can't reach the floor. So we should feel the stretch down this hamstring, the back of the right leg. So we can either stay here or start bringing the chest down towards the thigh. You can hold on to your foot. You can have your hands on the floor. It's whatever feels better for you. Okay, if you've got blocks or books, you can have your hands on blocks or books. See how that hamstring feels. Now we're just going to do this with our breath a few times. So I will do it with my hands on my hips. So as you inhale, we're going to rock forward into that lunge position. And then as we exhale, we're going to rock back, pull the toes up. If you've got sensitive knees, you can always double the mat underneath your knee if needs be. And then once again, push forward into the hip. Exhale, pull back, push the hips back. We'll do one more. Come forward on the inhale. And then as you exhale, push back and really focus on pushing that right hip back. Push the right hip back and bring the left hip forward so your hips are square. You should feel a deeper stretch coming down the back of this leg. Then bring the weight forward, hands to the top of the mat, tuck your back toe and step forward. So step, lengthen up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, knees are soft. Come up on the inhale, so slowly rolling up the spine, reaching the arms up to the ceiling. Hands come into prayer at heart center, bring those feet back together. So that's one round. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So big toes touching. Turn the palms to face forward, so shoulders are back and down. Take an inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale into forward fold. Halfway lift. Hands can be on the shins here, lengthen the spine. And then fold down, hands to the floor. Step the left foot back. So sink into the hips. So it's a really long lunge position. Step back into plank. So right foot joins the left, plank. Now push the floor away with your hands. Push your heels to the back of the room and push the back of your knees up towards the ceiling. Lower down, knees, chin and chest. Keeping those elbows tight, lay down. Push the chest forward and up and come into a back bend. So only go as deep as you feel comfortable with. We can just be here if the back is super tight. Then come onto the knees, sit back, take a child's pose, forehead to the mat. Come forward to tabletop, toes tuck, hips lift, downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift that left leg up. Three-legged dog, look forward and step the foot to the top of the mat. So take your time getting the foot there. So the back knee is going to come down, untuck the back toe, push into the front foot, raise the arms up into your low lunge. Okay, so remember knee over ankle. So we don't want this with the knee coming forward. We want the knee stacked over the ankle. Arms are up, palms face towards each other, shoulders are relaxed. Breathe in, tuck the tailbone, and let's sink into the hips. And again, let's sink deeper. So you should feel a hip flexor stretch on the right side. Sink one more time, and then inhale here. Exhale, push back, half splits. So the hips push back, the left toes come up towards the face. Hands on the floor or the hips, up to you. Start moving the chest down towards the thigh. Keep pulling the toes towards you so we really get into the back of this leg. And then we're going to flow this 3 times with the breath. So as you inhale, come forward, sink the hips. As you exhale, take it back, pull the toes up. And again, come forward, sink into your hips. Exhale, push back. And one more, really sink into the hips as you come forward. Exhale, push back, hold here, chest comes down a little deeper. Maybe we get hold of those toes. And then take the weight again forward to the front foot, tuck the back toe under, step forward and fold over your legs. Come up slowly on the inhale, raise up, lift up, hands come into prayer at heart center. Okay, fabulous. All right, bring those toes back together. Just going to do one more flow through to get ourselves nice and warm. So lift up on the inhale, a little bit quicker this time. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen, so hands can be shins or floor. Hands down, step back to plank. Hold the plank nice and strong. Now you can either drop your knees if you wish or lower through chaturanga, which is keeping the knees off the floor, so we go to low push-up. Then if you push your chest through into your back bend, cobra or up dog, exhale straight back into downward facing dog. Let's lift the right leg up on the inhale. Step it forward between the hands. Double step if we need to. Now drop the back knee down, or if you want to keep it lifted to work harder, keep the left hand on the floor. Take the right hand up towards the ceiling to take your twisted lunge. Look towards that top hand. If the back knee is lifted, let's make it super straight. So the back of the knee pushes towards the ceiling, the heel pushes back. Try and get your arms into a vertical position. And breathe into the chest and that opening that you've got and into your right buttock. You should feel a stretch there. If you don't, drop your hips a bit lower. Good. Take another breath in. Exhale, release the hand down. Step back to down dog. So step back, push the hips high. Lift the left leg up now. So same on the other side. Left leg lifts. Look forward. Step it forward. So you can do it with the back knee down if you want to. Keep the right hand on the floor. Take the left arm to the ceiling to take your twisted lunge. So we're either here with the knee down or the knees lifted. Your choice. But feel the stretch opening up through the chest and also through the left buttock here. Breathe into it. So that lovely long breath that we did at the beginning of the practice, are we still using that breath? If we're not, try and find it again. Open that chest up, arms are vertical. Reach up. Exhale, release the hand down, step back to plank. So both feet back. Lower either knees, chin and chest or chaturanga. So we can go low push-up if you want to. Push through, find a back bend. Then tuck the toes, hips lift, downward facing. Now lift up onto your toes, bend the knees, look at your hands, step, jump or walk your feet forward. Halfway lift. then fold. Soften the knees off here. Lift up on the inhale. Reach up really high. Bring the hands into prayer at heart center. One more. Lift up on the inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Really soften off those knees. Take a gap between the feet. So toe heel your feet out slightly. Okay. Place your right hand on the floor or maybe on a block if we can't reach the floor. Take your left arm. Reach the ceiling. Now straighten just your left leg. So really getting into that left hamstring. Take some weight into that hand that's on the floor and into the balls of your feet. So you can really turn your bottom up towards the sky and get deeper into that stretch. Either look forward or look towards that top hand, depending on how the neck feels. Good. Release. Soften both of your knees. Switch hands over. So left hand to the floor. Right hand opens you up. Right leg straightens. Good. So weight into the balls of the feet and into your hand that's on the floor. Extend the right fingertips to the ceiling. Look towards the hand if you can. So we really get into the right hamstring. Release the hand down. Hands to the mat. Step back to plank. Nice and strong. Once again, lift the hips. Push the heels down. Come into downward facing dog. All right. Just notice how this down dog feels to the first one. Ensure that the fingers are spread out. The heels are pushing down to the mat. Give the head a shake. Release that neck tension. Come forward to plank. Lower yourself down all the way to lay down onto your tummy. So all the way to the mat and untuck your toes. Now reach your arms forward and point your toes back. If you haven't got a great lower back, so you've got a niggly lower back, have a gap between the feet. Okay, just to help to protect. So reaching the arms forward, legs go back. We're going to lift the opposite arm to leg. So right arm and left leg. So Superman, right arm, left leg, lift them up. Try and get your thigh off the floor. Point the toes, keep the legs straight. Reach the arm forward. Make sure your core is turned on. Exhale, lower. Okay, left arm, right leg, lift up. Try and get that thigh off the mat. Keep reaching the fingertips forward, pointing the toes back. Lift and slowly release. Push both of your hands into the floor. Lift both your legs now. Point the toes. Just the legs. Keep the head looking down, the neck neutral. Point the toes. Lift the thighs. Exhale, lower. Now just the arms. Just the arms lift, so pushing through the top of the feet and reaching the arms forward as if you're holding a big ball in front of you. So lift up, exhale, lower. Either rest or let's do everything, arms and legs. Ready? Engage your core. Lift up, arms and legs, everything lift. Remember that gap between the feet if we need it. Keep the neck neutral. Keep breathing. Lift those thighs a little more. Exhale to lower. Bring your hands under your head, drop your forehead down and just move the hips from side to side. Take a nice big inhale and exhale, let it go. Hands come under your shoulders. Let's find child's pose. So push up and all the way back. Bring your bottom onto your heels, your forehead to the floor and just have your arms relaxed and soft. Shoulders are soft, elbows are on the mat. And just take some inhales and exhales here. So when we're in child's pose, your big toe should be touching. Your knees can be together or apart. It's up to you. It really is personal preference. Okay, so just play around with it and see which one feels better. So really breathe into your belly. Exhale to release. Maybe rock the head from side to side if we need to release any tension in the neck or the shoulders. Let it go. Inhale, come up really slowly. Back through your tabletop and then into downward facing dog. We're going to walk our feet up to the top of the mat, nice and slowly. Pausing in a ragdoll, soft knees, interlace the fingers, place the hands onto the back of the head. Hang in a ragdoll here. Some nice long breaths to lengthen the spine and take your foreheads closer down towards the ankles. Lift your bottom into the air, weight into the balls of your feet. Knees are soft. And then release those arms to the floor. Slowly roll up, coming into standing. Once you get up, take your arms up, reach up, make yourself as long and as tall as possible. Bring the hands into prayer at heart center to finish. Exhale, release out through the mouth. And then just release your arms down by your side. Okay, well done. See how you feel. All right, just check in with yourself. If you feel any energy running around the body, just notice where it is. Make sure that the head space as well. Sometimes when we move up and down quite a lot, we can get a bit lightheaded. So just check in with that when we come up and down, and just take a few breaths to equalize it. All right, we're going to take a balance now. So let's take the weight into the left foot and bring the right knee up and into the chest. Okay, so spread the toes of your left foot to help you with that balance. And then taking hold of the right foot, place it above or below the knee joint. All right, so no excess pressure on the knee. And then bring the hands to meet in prayer to find tree posture. So if it's not available to bring it above the knee, just take it below the knee. If that's not great, we can just cross the feet. All right, there's lots of variations. You can always hold on to something if balance isn't great today. Now find a spot in front of you to focus on. That will help you balance. Once you have got your balance, you can extend and take your prayer up to the ceiling to extend. Maybe find your branches and extend the arms out, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. Tree posture is a hip opener, so push that knee out to the side, activating through the core muscles. And then turn your pelvic floor on. From your pelvic floor up to your navel, activate through this area here. And push the knee out a touch more if you can. Keep those shoulders soft, gaze is steady and forward. Maybe close your eyes and challenge yourself. See how your balance is today. See what happens when those eyes close. We tend to all get a little bit wobbly when we close the eyes, because then the mind takes over. It's a good challenge. And then bring your prayer back into center. Just bring your knee into the chest, give it a little hug, and then release it to the mat. Good. Switch sides. So take the weight into your right foot. Spread those right toes out. Bring your left knee into your chest. Just get that initial balance before taking tree. So above or below the knee joint. And if we push the leg and the foot into each other equally, it should stay there. Unless we've got really slippy leggings on or something. So just no pressure on the knee joint. Start with the hands in prayer. If you want to, we can extend the prayer. Then we can find our branches. If balance isn't great, maybe stay here or go back to the modifications. So balance can be great one day and terrible the next. So just go with what's going on for you today. And if you fall out of a balance, just come back into it. We all fall out of balances all the time. That's what makes yoga fun. So just find the balance, find that mental stillness. If you can, push the knee out, engage your pelvic floor, and then see if you want to close your eyes. It's optional. Lovely. Take another big deep breath in. Stay here for the exhale. And then bring the knee and the prayer back to center. Give the knee a little hug and release it down. Give the legs a walk out. Let's go back to the top of the mat. So feet together, top of the mat. Bring the arms up on the inhale. Exhale into forward fold. Take a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Hands to the floor, step back, plank, push back, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. Lift up, step it forward in between the hands. Now take the left foot wider and then drop the heel down on the diagonal. So left toe should be pointing to 2 o'clock. Okay? Push into the front foot. No, sorry, 10 o'clock. Push into the front foot. Keep the hips and the shoulders facing forward as you raise up into warrior one. Okay, so imagine you've got headlights on your hips and your shoulders. You both want them both pointing to the front of your mat. Extend the arms to the ceiling. Interlace your fingers. Release your pointers and squeeze the ears with your arms. Good. Now pull the rib cage back towards the spine. Bend deeper into that front knee. Good. Sink deeper as you exhale. As you inhale, straighten the front leg. And then exhale, bend back into it. Take your hands behind your back and interlace them. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your chest. Then bring the chest down in front or inside, that right leg. So I'm coming into humble warrior. So your arms are going to come up and over your head. Let your head hang heavy and look at your front or back toes, depending on how deep you are here. Now, don't allow the right hip to stick out. Pull the right hip towards the middle of your mat and then bend deeper into that right knee. Good. Keep breathing. Go down a little deeper. So you're trying to touch your head on the floor inside your right foot. Might not happen today, that's fine. Okay, release your hands to the floor so they're both inside the foot. Lift that back heel and drop the back knee onto the floor. So we should end up in a lizard position. So I'll just turn to face you. Okay, so we've got right foot underneath our right knee, the left knee is down and the hands are inside that foot. So this is half lizard, so it's a nice hip opener. Now if you push down through your left arm, take your right arm up towards the ceiling to open up into a twist. Good, so look towards the top hand and then release the hand down and see if you might be able to bring your forearms to the floor. So some of us will be able to just drop down onto our forearms here. For others, it might be a bit too tight, so stay on your hands. See how it feels for the hip. You can always bring a block or a cushion and bring your forearms down onto your block or cushion and just see how it feels for your hip. Breathe here. Let your head go. If you want to work a little bit stronger, then tuck your back toe under and lift your back knee off the floor. So we come into a full lizard position like this. Okay? My hips are super tight at the moment, so I'm avoiding all the stronger postures, just taking it nice and easy. All right, so just move the hips carefully from side to side. And then tuck the back toe under, lift the back knee and turn yourself into a wide-legged stance. So again, we may need to have blocks underneath our hands if we can't quite reach the floor. But if you have a look at your feet, see if they're level with the side edges of your mat. Now keep your back nice and flat. So you want a flat back position. Okay, so hands are either on the block or on the floor. Nice long spine. Bring your right hand underneath your face and take your left arm up towards the ceiling. So lots of twisting. Twisting is really good for detoxification, to get all of those internal organs stimulated. Now look towards the top hand if you can and reach a little higher, and then let's change. Bring that hand down, switch over to the other side, opening up, reaching the fingertips up. Again, we're trying to get those hands into, those arms into a vertical line, and then release your hands down to the mat. Let's walk back towards our right foot, rotating on the feet here. Step back to plank. We'll take a vinyasa here, which is the flow between movements. So lower, either low push-up or knees, chin, chest. Push through into that back bend and all the way back into downward facing dog. So we'll do all that on the other side. This is the last little bit. Keep going. You're doing brilliantly. Lift the left leg up. Step it forward and in between your hands. Now turn that right foot out on the diagonal. Ground the heel down. Push into your front foot. Come up into warrior one. Okay, so remember warrior one, hips and shoulders are facing forwards. Arms are extending to the ceiling. Interlace fingers, release your pointers so the pointers are reaching to the ceiling, and we're squeezing our ears with our arms. Pull the rib cage back towards the spine. Bend deeper into that front knee. Sink deeper. Take your hands behind to interlace. Open the chest up, look up. Then bow the chest down inside the front leg. Arms come up and overhead. Look at your back toes. If that's too deep, look at your front foot. So the head is reaching down to the floor inside the foot. Bring the left hip into the center of your mat. Breathe, keep breathing. If at any time you need to rest, please do so. Let the head be heavy so the neck is nicely relaxed. Then release the hands down inside that front foot. Lift your back heel, drop your back knee. So we're in our half lizard lunge position. So hands are on the floor inside that front foot. Push into your right arm, reach the left arm up to the ceiling. So it's like the half lunge we did earlier. And then release. Maybe back onto your hands or into our full lizard, which is forearms on the mat. And as I said before, maybe that's not achievable for you. You can stay on a block. You can stay on your hands here instead if that feels good. But for those who wish to work deeper, forearms down, tuck the back toe, lift the back knee. Any stage of lizard that feels good, that works for you. And then just breathe, find the breath. It's all about opening up into the hips. So you may feel it in your bottom, your inner thigh, your outer thigh, your hip joint right deep in there somewhere. Just breathe into it. Let the head be heavy, release and let go. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. Then bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck the back toe under. Push and turn into that wide leg stance again that we did before. We're just going to hang out here. So push the heels out nice and wide and fold yourself down. The hands can come level with the feet or off the back of the mat, depending on how deep we want to go. You may want to rest your forearms down or just let it hang so we feel the stretch through the back of the legs. Trying to feed the chest through the thighs and the head's just dropping down to the floor. Lift your bottom higher. Take one more last breath here. And then release. Let's walk back towards our front foot. Step back into a plank position. We're going to take one final vinyasa. So lower knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga. Short, low push-up, Inhale to up dog. Everyone, drop your knees to the floor. Sit yourself all the way back. And take a child's pose. Let the elbows drop to the floor. Let the forehead touch down. And just release and let go. Breathe into your lower back. Release any tension in the shoulders. Just maybe want to circle your wrists out if the wrists are feeling it from doing those downward facing dogs. Wherever you're feeling the tensions, focus your breath, your energy to those areas and let it go. Well done. Okay, so we're onto the floor for a couple of minutes before relaxation. So just come into tabletop for me. So onto your hands and knees. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. And then if you look at where your hands are, we're going to bring our feet either side of our hands. So you can jump or you can just step. So bring your feet either sides of your hands. So we're coming into a yogic squat. So our feet are wider than hip distance and toes are pointing out. And then we sit the bottom down. So the heels might be up or down, doesn't matter. Bring your hands, if you can, into prayer. Now use your elbows to push your knees out. Nice and wide. So the thumbs come right into your heart center. Think about having a really super tall spine and letting your bottom drop down. Okay, so we don't want to round through the shoulders. We want to lengthen. Okay, so just last little stretch for the hips here. So if you see my back is nice and long, rather than doing this, around, drop your bottom down, lift your chest, breathe in here, push those elbows out. And then reach your arms forward. See if you can drop onto your bum and lift your legs up into a half boat position. If you can't, just find your way here. We can hold the back of the thighs if we want to. It's just getting some nice activation into the core. Lift the chest and lengthen. Okay, so legs are parallel with the mat. If you want to work harder, extend your legs to the ceiling. but that'd be silly. You can hold the back of the legs or extend them forward. It's up to you. We're going to do 3 open and closes. So as we inhale, we lift. As we exhale, we lower. And then we inhale and we lift. Just 3. So 2 more. Open and lift. Good. And last one. Open. Good. And lift. So this time, open all the way, as slow as you can. Hover off the floor and release. Well done. Let it go. Bend your knees. Bring your feet onto the floor. Take your feet mat distance apart and just rock the knees from side to side. Put the hands on the belly. And just feel your breath. Close your eyes and feel your breath. Feel the way that the body responds to the breath. And then slow it down into that nice rhythm that we started our practice with. Okay? So got a nice long inhale and a slow exhale. Now we're going to do a little inversion before we go into relaxation. So the options here are waterfall, which is how we started the practice. So for inversions, as I said right at the beginning, they're really energizing. Okay, so, but they're also really good for just releasing toxins. And I tend to do one towards the end of the practice. So this is waterfall, which is what we did at the beginning. This is the restorative option. So if you want to just chill out, do this. If you've got a chair or a bed or a sofa near you, you can just rest your legs on one of those items, or you can put your legs up a wall. It's really good for just chilling out. Put your legs up a wall and just breathing here, but keep the chest nicely open. If you want to work harder, then we will go from here into shoulder stand. So legs are in the air, arms are down by your side, and then lift the bottom, get hands, fingers and thumbs onto the back. Then we start by walking the elbows towards each other so we can lift the legs up towards the ceiling. All right, so if you want to stay with waterfall, please do. You can always come out of this and go into waterfall at any time. If you're with me in shoulder stand, zip your legs together. Imagine you're holding a tennis ball between your ankles. Look towards your toes, so keep your neck nice and still so we don't move the head around. So activate the leg muscles, the tummy muscles, the bottom, everything. Activate it. So we want to get nice and high onto those shoulders. Keep walking those elbows towards each other. All right, if you're happy here, stay here. Or you may want to scissor the legs so we can drop the right leg down to the floor behind our head and then lift it back up. And we can try the left. So drop that left leg down and lift it back up again. And then if you want to go for full plow, take both legs down over your head to touch the floor. They may or may not reach. If they do, you can try interlacing the hands behind the back to make a yoga lock. If they don't, keep the hands on the back. Okay, if the hamstrings are super tight, flex your feet, so pull your toes towards your head. And then we can get another stretch through the hamstrings. Alternatively, soften the knees and just bend the knees towards your forehead. Okay, so this is creating a big restriction on the breath into your throat. So breathe through that restriction and it will really get the thyroid working, stimulate your metabolism. So it's awesome posture, shoulder stand. But just stay in it for as long as you feel comfortable. If you need to come out at any point, please do. Okay, always listen to your body. So just finding the breath. And then carefully release your hands to the floor so they're like brakes. And we can slowly roll the spine all the way down. Put a bend into the knees once your bottom comes down and drop your feet down to the floor. So we're in the bridge position, like the setup for bridge that we did earlier. So the knees are bent, heels are bring the heels in towards the bottom, arms are down by your side. We're just going to lift into one bridge here. So tilt the pelvis, lift the hips up so we get a stretch up through the front of the body. So we're not going too deep, we're just lifting in through the hips. And then exhale, slowly lower. Bring your bottom back down to the floor. Knees come into the chest, arms go out into a crucifix. And let's drop the knees down to the left side. Turn the head to the right. Breathe into the uppermost rib cage. And exhale to release. Let your shoulders soften onto the mat. Do another big deep breath in and out. Lovely. Let's bring the knees back through center. Take them over to the other side. Turn your head in the opposite direction. So breathe into the rib cage. And exhale to release. Bring it back to center when you're ready. Drop your feet to the floor. If the lower back isn't great, keep the feet on the mat and just knock the knees together. If the back is okay, extend the legs long so the feet are hip distance. No, sorry, the feet are mat distance apart. Arms are out by your side, palms are facing up. So you can take, if you have space, the limbs a bit further away from the midline of your body. So get comfortable, open up the shoulders, open up the hips, take a nice big deep inhale, sigh out through the mouth, cleansing breath. And again, breathe in through the nose, sigh out through the mouth. And then just breathe. However the body needs the breath, let it flow in its own natural way. Close the eyes, soften everything. And all you need to do now is just breathe and relax and find mental and physical stillness if you can on your mat. Let go of tension, of tightness. Do a scan of the body from your head to your toes and see if you're holding on to tension anywhere. If you are, focus your breath to that area and try to release it. Work through each body part, releasing and relaxing. Just letting go. Let go of anything that you're holding on to, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. Think about your exhale as being the cleanser that releases those things that are just hanging around a bit too long. And now just be aware of your headspace. And if now you are still, your mind has started getting busy again, you're starting to think about what you need to do later or what's happened in your day, just pop those thoughts to one side. They will come back to you if they're important. But for now, just focus on the breath, the inhale, the exhale. Count the breath in and out, if that's what you need to do to keep the mind clear. Any thoughts that come in, acknowledge, accept them, but pop them to one side. Focus on your breath. Now remind yourself of your intention, your focus that you set for practice when you first arrived. What you wanted to achieve from your practice perhaps, or why you arrived on your mat. And really breathe into that intention, give it your energy, breathe into it, a full long inhalation. And exhale it out. The next breath in, start making some small movements with your fingers, your toes. Taking the arms up and overhead for a full body stretch. Bringing your knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug. And then rolling over onto your right side, just pausing there for a breath, just to make sure that the energy is equal in and around the body before coming back up to seated where we will meet. Seated in an easy cross-leg position with a tall spine, relaxed shoulders, maybe keeping the eyes closed if we can, just whilst we seal our practice together. Bringing the hands into prayer at heart center. Bowing the head down towards the fingertips. Once again, remembering your intention, your reason for being on your mat, and then give thanks to everybody who has shared this practice with you today. I thank you all for joining me and allowing me to guide you through your practice. Have a wonderful evening. Namaste.